everybody! How are you? I hope you are all safe at your respective homes. As MPE reigning queens, we really want to talk about what matters, mostly at times like this pandemic. So our topic for today is the state of the environment amidst this pandemic, and we're going to have a very special guest joining us later. As for now, we're gonna share a little bit of what has been going on during our when our reign started up to this day. So I think Elisa is going to share Miss Ecotourism.
Hi guys, I hope everyone is doing good and being safe. So far, I haven't been able to do much because of our stage 4 quarantine, and I think I still need to wait for a few weeks until that's all over. But it's nice to see a lot of my family implement my advocacy, which is about proper waste segregation, seeing all my little nieces and nephews doing compost, gardening, planting. And yeah, I think everything so far at home is okay, and I'm mostly just trying to work on myself and spend time with family.
Okay, I think Ate Shane, Miss Philippines Fire, is going to share also about her experiences for the past months and weeks.
Isa pong mga kalikasang hapon sa inyong lahat, at sobrang excited na ako for this first online activity with my fellow Eco Queens, and of course with our special guest later. I'm just very excited because this month we had our first virtual celebration sa Gultol Fishing Festival. I'm very much happy also because my fellow Eco Queens supported me with our project, which is the Eco Youth Summit, as part of my environmental campaign. So we did had 3 contests: eco poster making, eco slogan making, and eco memes making, wherein there's a lot of atimonanins, mga youth and kabataan po ang sumali dito sa contest na to. I'm very much happy that we found a way how to involve the youth and having that concern and keeping that fire burning inside of them to save the environment and to continue the substantial changes happening right now, even though we are in the midst of pandemic. And right now, what I'm busy about is that just yesterday, kanina lang, we uploaded the online virtual tour for Atimonan. This is our official entry for the Niyug-Yugan Festival for this month. So ako po ay naging tour guide. Ako ang voice over for that about 3 to 4 minutes video wherein we will tour you around Atimonan, at pinakita namin doon kung ano yung mga eco-tourist spots that you can visit. Maybe right now we have to follow yung mga procedures, healthy safety procedures sa mga ecotourism spots, though it's already open, but meron lang mga carrying capacity so that we can still ensure the safety of everyone, even though that we are still restrained and contained with the actions that we have to make. So yun lang muna ngayon yung share ko, and there's still upcoming campaigns and projects I'm working with our local government unit in Atimonan. And of course, since nandito na ako sa Metro, I'm very much excited to share new projects and campaigns with my fellow Eco Queens.
Wow. Thank you, Ate Shane. And now, Miss Philippines Earth Water is going to share also about what has been going down for the past months. Ate Jana.
Yes, isa lang makakalikasan. Kabayan sa lahat. I'm sorry I'm kind of late because I'm actually in work right now. So I've been keeping busy. I'm still on radio. I have a radio show coming up in about an hour. But besides that, I've really been trying to work on my advocacy. So I've created the Book How initiative, and what we do is we distribute relief goods to marginalized communities across Mandaluyong. And hopefully we can branch that out to the rest of Metro Manila. Roxy, you and I did that a few weeks ago, so that was a lot of fun, and that was really nice to not just talk the talk, but also walk the talk about everything we've been talking about during the pageant. So I am working on that. I'm continuing that initiative. just recently, I worked with the Mandaluyong LGU to distribute more relief goods dahil na pumasok tayo sa MDCQ recently. Siyempre, mas maraming tao yung nawalan ng bahay or nawalan sila ng pupuntahan during this pandemic. So I've been trying to be very active on that and just trying to get work done. So I am at the radio station right now, just trying to make the most of every hour. And then I've also been planning to move to a different condo. So because we're working from home even more now, syempre, we need more space from home. So I'm trying to work on that.
Wow, thank you, Ate Jana. I think Ate Patricia, Miss Philippines Earth Air is also going to share.
Hi, Roxy. Hi to my Echo sisters, Shane, Gianna, and Elisa. Again, this is Patricia Santos, your Miss Philippines Air 2020. And I have to say that the past few weeks, in fact, it has been a month already since we have been crowned, if I'm not mistaken. And I have to say that that has been the most hectic month of my life in between struggling with keeping my main job. I have a full day job actually that I am maintaining, and I just had a transition because from PhilHealth, I am now working with the Supreme Court in line with my legal career. So it's been very exciting for me the past few weeks, and I'm moving to a new condo. So everything's a bit of a challenge, since moving around during this pandemic can be a little bit tricky, challenging, and must be done with caution. But I am still happy to report that we've been doing a lot in terms of our advocacy. Just a few weeks ago, especially for the SONA of our President Duterte, I was able to partner up with Greenpeace to be part of their Better Normal Youth Agenda, wherein we were able to record a short video wherein we were able to capitulate or let the government know what are the different environmental agendas that we want to be carried out as an agenda of our government leaders. So I'm very happy and proud to be part of that. And as a part of our continuing partnership, actually Greenpeace is also working with me to develop a Better Together network, which is supposed to be a network that will provide information on our current climate justice movement. It's very interesting. In fact, I don't want to rattle your ears off it, but just watch out for the next few days wherein we will be sharing with you about the climate justice movement and why it's important for us to also realize that, fighting for the environment also concerns us because it is part of what we call climate justice. And other initiatives that I've been part of is, I'm very excited, I just shared it today, is what I call SINAG. Actually, we renamed it now pala to BIWA. It's a ayuda. It's ayuda, meaning it's a benefit package for people who have lost their jobs. Because a lot of people who have lost their jobs always tell us that instead of the regular ayuda of getting money or food, they want to get assistance in establishing their own urban gardens, which is something I'm very excited about, because this means that we will be helping them develop a more sustainable way to provide them with food. And this is a fundraiser that we have launched recently, and I'm very excited to be part of. So that's just some of the initiatives that we're working on, and I hope that everybody would be able to join us as we move forward into this pandemic riddled world.
Thank you so much, Queen Sisters, for all that you do for our community. And as for me, I'm really grateful that as Miss Philippines Earth Queens, this now paved the way to a more inclusive reach. So we are able to reach out even more and have different talks for different causes virtually. And other than that, I did continue my Straight from the Heart program, feeding strays and pets in need during this pandemic. And I just moved to Baguio City hours ago. I just got here. And I'm happy that I could continue it here now. There are also a lot of strays and pets in need that really needs help, and I really want to send the message that all lives matter, mostly at times like this pandemic. And as soon as we were crowned, I think that was 2 weeks after. Since Ate Gianna lives nearby, we decided to collaborate and give back. It's a way of celebrating. We give back to our communities by extending food assistance to our kababayans who are stranded in Manila Bay and currently do not have permanent homes to live in. So there's that. And of course, I've been making content videos that I'm going to be releasing soon. We just also finished. It's about tips on how to garden, the do's and don'ts to give people an idea and for them to be motivated to plant and to not be scared to try and to start urban agriculture at their own homes. And I did partner with Department of Agriculture Car Division here in Baguio City. So now that I am finally home, I'm happy that we could now push through with our project. So it's just, I think, almost 2 months now, and we have a lot of months to go. It's going to be such a fruitful reign, and I'm so excited. So everybody, the long wait is over. We are now going to introduce our very, very special guest speaker. He is an eco-entrepreneur, an author, and a writer. Let us welcome Sir Matthias Gelber, aka Green Man.
Hi, Earth Queens, and hi, all of our listeners. First of all, I would like to congratulate you all for being the champions of this year's competition. I've been involved in Miss Earth as a judge since 2016. I've done it in the Philippines and in Malaysia and for the global international competition. And I was very impressed with your advocacy and with your Q&A sessions. I was there online during the final as a judge. So well done. And it's great as well to hear all of the wonderful things you are doing, both for the environment and for the community. I think looking at the situation we are in now currently in the pandemic, we get reminded that we really need to combine the people, the planet, and the profit. We need to have a holistic approach to helping the future of humanity by preserving our precious Mother Earth, but as well by giving very practical assistance to people, to the community, particularly those that are suffering currently. And we still have a lot of poverty in the Philippines. We have a lot of people that are struggling now without job, without income. So there's a lot of work that we need to do. And if we look at the UN Sustainable Development Goals, you know, no poverty, no hunger, those are all objectives that go in line with the environmental goals. So we are hoping for a healthy planet, for improved society where people don't need to suffer. And if we can create livelihood opportunities like the urban gardening, like community-based projects where people can heal the planet and at the same time earn a good living or create food, even better if it's organic food, then I think we have a win-win scenario. And it's good to see that the urban gardening is experiencing a renaissance, and we are realizing how important it is to be connected to the planet, to the plants. You can see behind me various plants. My office is basically a little greenhouse, but that's thanks to my wife. She is the one who's got the real touch with plants. I love the plants. I love to hug trees. I love to be out there in the forest. That's how I grew up. I was playing in the forest. That was my playground. It wasn't an iPad or an iPhone or the screen. It was Mother Nature itself. And I got reminded today when I talked with a friend of mine in Indonesia. He was sharing a presentation about forest bathing. I'm not sure whether you ever heard about that, but the Japanese have come up with that as a way of curing certain diseases that we have in the modern world. You know, a lot of people are stressed. When you're out there in the forest, you get all of these positive, negative ions from Mother Nature. You get clean air. You feel close to the planet itself. And this connection, this closeness, we need it more than ever in a time where we are confined to our homes, where we have increasing electricity bills, where people do online orders left, right, and center, and the waste, the non-recyclable waste might be piling up in their homes. So, we need to come up with creative ideas of reconnecting back with Mother Earth and at the same time helping the planet in a holistic way together with its people.
Thank you for those wonderful insights. And also to add to that, yes, nature is now healing. That's the silver lining of this pandemic, that Mother Earth has a time to renew, replenish. And I hope as people, as we grieve our losses, let us also not forget to dream new images and heal just as much as Mother Earth did. And start urban agriculture to boost our mental and physical health in general. Yes.
What is very critical, Roxy, is that we learn some of the lessons of this experience. I mean, we have a moment of healing. We had much better air quality. We had animals coming back into urban spaces because suddenly they were not being pushed back by the humans. But the question is now, are we going back to the old normal? We already have the traffic jams back on the Metro Manila roads. We have the air pollution worsening again because the humans are out there again with the vehicles that are polluting the environment. Some of the lorries, once the buses and the jeepneys come back, then the pollution will go up even more. I mean, we have to understand the people that are making the livelihood through the jeepneys, and these people have been hit extremely hard now, but the jeepneys that we have running in Metro Manila still use very old technology. You can see it when you look at the exhaust. We still have a lot of trucks, buses running that don't really comply with the legislation about pollution control. There are electric vehicles that will have no inner city pollution. As long as we can get the power from renewable sources, it will be a really clean solution, but very few people have switched to electric vehicles. So hopefully we will learn some of those lessons and establish a long-term behavior, and companies hopefully will allow employees to work from home long-term so that we have less vehicles on the road. Otherwise, now with people being scared of public transport, we will have even more pollution chaos and traffic chaos on the road. I used to use the bus from Laguna, San Pablo City, where I live with my family, to Metro Manila, but now my wife is scared of me using a bus. So, if I have to go back to Metro Manila again, I'll have to hire a car. I have been without a car for the last 20 years. So it's getting more difficult to live without a car. So there are totally new challenges. And I think it's very, very important is that we establish long-term patterns that are more sustainable that we have learned during the pandemic. We have learned how amazing it can be when you have clean, fresh air, even in an urban environment, when you can see the mountains in the background. But now, if we go back to the old way and pour out the pollution all of our vehicles, then we have not learned the lesson. What do you ladies think? How can we establish that long-term pattern?
Okay, so I think I'm gonna go first. Well, it's good that during this pandemic, we had this kind of time to think about what we did in the past and figure out and realize that with the skies, it's much clearer. We now realize that it is human actions and detrimental effects that are happening to the environment is human-made. So we won't have imbalances. We won't have this detrimental effects to our environment if we choose to live a sustainable life and stick to the UN plans for sustainable development goals. And thank you so much, sir, for those wonderful insights. It really does make you realize. And I hope people watching now also realizes that even with the small actions, they can really do something. And now that we realize that we are the ones causing these problems, I hope when we are given the opportunity, when the pandemic goes away, we now live a more sustainable life to avoid things like this happening again.
You know, it's a good thing actually that a lot of people right now are being into indoor plants. They're already learning how to do urban gardening, and I'm already a witness to that because most of my friends, I'm very much happy every time that they're going to post IG stories, days in their messenger. I can see that a lot of them are planting, they're availing seeds, they're ordering plants online. So I'm very much happy that the transition may be at, because they're thinking that their actions is small. But I'm always been telling to them that your small part is already a start. So once you see that the seeds grow every day, it's like you're a parent and you see that your child is growing. Hi, little girl. Hi, Princess Athena. It's like more addictive to see the changes and to see that it brings good in you. So that is already a good start. And a lot of people right now, regarding with what Sir Greenman told a while ago about people taking the bus, the air pollution. You know, sir, in Atimonan and some of the provinces that I know where my friends are staying right now, a lot of them are using bicycles. And actually, I have a new bike right now. I'm part of the trend wherein a lot of people are already using bikes every time that they wanted to go out, every time that they have to go in a certain place. Maybe that bike is still maybe had a limited access in EDSA because they're not yet done with the bike lanes. But I think this is already a good start. Even though there's still a long way to go, I'm very sure that a lot of people right now are having that reflections by the actions they've made before, and I hope that it will be instilled in them to continue that change because we all just really wanted to continue with the substantial changes that is happening in our environment, and let's not waste this time, this opportunity to rethink about our actions.
Yeah, Shane, that's a great point. The shift towards bicycles, and bicycles don't have the COVID risk because you're out there in the fresh air. It's in the enclosed environments that people get infected because of the airborne particles of the virus particles circulating there. And that scenario, as the more fresh air we have indoors and with the bicycle completely outdoors, that is the perfect scenario. So we really need to work on all of these things so that our future generation here, who are the kids now, and that is one of the reasons that we are staying at home. We have even installed some technology. I have a Filipino guy invented this tool. It's an indoor air quality monitoring tool that actually measures the air quality inside. And with this air quality measurement, I can have an indication of how high is the virus infection risk. Because if you don't have fresh air coming in, then you have a very high level of CO2. That means no fresh air circulation. The virus is more likely to be distributed inside of the room. We use some other technologies actually to kill the virus. We have installed something in the air conditioning system. So in addition to the practical things that we can do out there in the environment, there's interesting technology emerging. And with this tool, the air quality monitoring tool, that was co-invented by a Filipino. So Filipinos are coming up with innovative ideas that even from a technology point of view can help us with the planet and with humanity advancement.
I actually have a question for you, sir. Oh, go ahead. I actually have a question for you, Sir Greenman, just because my advocacy really pertains to the marginalized communities. And when we think about living a sustainable and a green lifestyle, I think the immediate thought of everybody is that you have to have money for it, you have to be able to afford it. But how can we make a sustainable lifestyle accessible to everybody here in the Philippines?
Yes. For me, a green living is actually efficient living. When you live a sustainable lifestyle, you don't waste. When you don't waste food, when you don't waste electricity, when you don't waste stuff, then you are spending less money. And marginalized communities often live a very simple lifestyle. They have an extremely low carbon footprint and environmental impact. The only issue you might sometimes find is that the waste management is not so properly done as you might see it in a efficiently managed condo. But I think the perception that you only live green when you buy the more expensive green or organic products is a fallacy. Green living is about mindfulness. Green living is about an overall philosophy, and this philosophy includes less can be more. Often it's the overconsumption of the modern society, which is, the aspect of the richer communities that generates the real environmental problem and the real big carbon footprint and the real big amount of waste. So marginalized communities, things like urban agriculture, agroforestry, working with the soil, coming up with livelihood opportunities. The whole recycling economy in the Philippines is based on people that actually earn a very small but decent living through separation and recycling. So I think we have the possibility. That's what we do here at home. We separate our trash, and I keep an eye out for those marginalized guys that walk on the road and that are actually collecting the bottles or the recyclables. And when I see them, I try and stop them and give it to them. And the joy that I get from seeing the smile in their face, that when I can suddenly hand them maybe a day or 2 days of work from, our effort here home to recycle, that is a joy that goes beyond we are healing the planet, we are making a small contribution to help somebody. So I think with the marginalized communities, it's not about that perception of green is too expensive or we need to buy green products. It's about how can we provide eco-sustainable livelihoods that are geared towards bring the planet back into shape and give them the chance to bring their life up to the next level by creating sustainable income opportunities that are sustainable in terms of economic sustainability, but as well sustainable in terms of environmental sustainability. Sent down their seedlings, fruit trees, and financial support to get much going as possible. Plant fruits and vegetables and the fruit trees that will then grow and for the next 20 years absorb carbon dioxide, the environmental benefit, and give us food to eat on a regular basis. That's beautiful.
Sir, I have a very interesting question. Because for sure, a lot of people right now are watching us and they're already amazed about the changes in our environment. The question is, since you are a green man, you're the green man, what and how they will start if they wanted to have the transition of becoming an eco-friendly individual. So how, where, what, how they will start that living sustainably? What can you give them as an advice?
Yeah, yes, great question, Shane. Actually, I wrote a book on the subject. I will show it to you here. But I'm not selling the book because I sold out. But I will actually give you guys the chance to download the book free of charge from my website. If you just go to greenmanspeech.com, you can download it there. And it has all of these tips in there, how you can actually start a green life. And I start with the family and your lifestyle. How can you do it at home? What are the possibilities? We have energy, our electricity bill. Basically, if you cut that down, you are helping the planet. The problem is now in the pandemic, our electricity bill goes up because we are working from home. We suddenly needed an additional aircon, and my first aircon that I bought was an inverter aircon. And I wanted to buy an inverter aircon as well. An inverter aircon costs 25,000 pesos or 30,000 pesos. A normal aircon is 15 or 20,000 pesos. But depending on your usage, Within 6 months, you have recovered the money. But the sales agent told me, oh, nobody buys inverter here because people see it as too expensive. But go for that. But when I wanted to buy another aircon because my wife was complaining, I was using the bedroom with the aircon as my office because suddenly we're all working from home. Then I couldn't buy an inverter aircon because all aircons were sold out. But look at energy efficient appliances. Can your fridge be energy efficient? Can your aircon be energy efficient? Water. Avoid wasting water at home. Maybe some of the water that you use inside of the house, like I capture the water from the bedroom aircon because it's an inside room, and I use it for flushing in the bathroom. Even though water is not expensive, you don't save a lot of money with it, but every drop counts because we have water shortages in the Philippines. Now, look at the waste that you are generating. We are not really ordering in food, hardly ever. During the pandemic, we have ordered 4 or 5 times food. If you order food every day, you are generating a huge amount of waste. Try and cook at home with the family. Get the kids involved. Make it a family session. Play with the kids. Use some old toys. Some of the toys that I played with as a kid, they are the toys that my daughter and my baby boy are playing with. So reuse, recycling, come up with some innovative ideas at home to get the family involved. And the book, when I printed it on 100% recycled paper. No tree was cut. I used vegetable ink made from mushroom that was water-based. I measured the carbon footprint of printing the book and bought carbon credits from a sustainable forest plantation to make each book carbon neutral, actually a carbon sink, so that each book is a healing impact on the planet. But one important thing as well is nobody is perfect. I'm not perfect. My electricity bill has gone up. You don't need to be perfect. Start in an area that you are passionate about, where you can get excited, where you can see results, where you can get your family involved, or maybe where you can get the local community involved. Or start planting on the balcony and then start selling some of the things that you have planted or some of the harvest that you get. Try and generate some positive income from it that will motivate you more, especially in the tough times that we are in now. So start with something small that is aligned with your passion and then grow it step by step.
Yes, actually, that's what Miss Earth 2015, Miss Angelia Ong told me, because I was asking also her how to live a green life. If someone approached me and asked me, how will I start living sustainably? And she told me that start doing things personally. Make it so personal to you. So you shouldn't start with a big action. You could start with the small actions, even inside your home. So that's very good for you to share, sir. It's not impossible. Everything can be still possible if we will just put our heart into that change that we want to happen.
And the industry that you are in, it's about fashion, it's about looking good, and there's a lot of things that you are wearing. I mean, this shirt, you might be shocked, but this is my most worn shirt. In the last 8 years that I have had this shirt, it looks like brand new. I've been wearing it maybe 400 times. This is not a joke. Now, okay, I'm a guy. You can get away easier when you always wear the same thing. Maybe, there's more judgment about women. And we need to move away from those gender stereotypes as well. I proudly wear this shirt again and again and again. And it's not necessarily eco-friendly material because it's polyester, but because I've been wearing it so many times, and after you wash it, it's like brand new. It's eco-efficient. I can show you one of my most eco-friendly shirts here. This shirt has got a great message. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We just borrow it from our children. This shirt is made from recycled plastic bottles. So nowadays you can turn waste into opportunity. I show you something else. My very sexy and fashionable bag here. It was made in Spain. I love the brand. They call it Fashion. This bag is made from old tires, inside tires. And the Philippines has a lot of people that come up with amazing ideas of repurposing, recycling, upcycling. There are so many community projects. There are a lot of bags in the Philippines that are made from recycled materials. And you know, if you as the crowned Miss Earth can use some of those accessoires, some of those things as fashionable items, then we can increase the demand. We can increase the amount of people buying it. The more demand there is for sustainable products, the more people will get a livelihood opportunity, the more the price will come down to an affordable level.
Man, I have another question, if it's okay.
Yes.
We saw your adorable, beautiful daughter recently, just now. So how do you, for I guess the people with younger kids at home, or for any parents watching right now, how are you starting to implement eco-friendly practices to her as a child? Because I mean, I know Roxy's like this, my parents were like this. You have to start young when it comes to living sustainably. So how have you been implementing those practices to your daughter?
Yeah, good question, Diana. Thanks. One of the first words that my daughter was able to speak was eco-brick. I mean,
Wow!
the eco-brick.
That's a very challenging word.
The eco-brick is not the ultimate solution for our plastic waste. It's just a good way of, sustainably reusing it. And we should avoid plastic as much as possible, but it's difficult to avoid it altogether. So my baby daughter, when she was very young, she was already helping me, compressing the packaging material in the eco-brick. So doing things together as a family. In the times when she grew up, there was no pandemic, there was no stay-at-home policy. So one of the first things we did was take her to the forest. And after she was 1 year old, and this was not me asking her to do it, but she used to hug trees. I just had to sometimes check whether there were not big ants on those trees, but she loved hugging trees. So now we have some small trees inside of the home, like this tree here behind me there. That's like a happy tree that you can see there. So we have tried to bring plants and greenery into our home. We have a balcony that looks like a forest. That's where I have get-togethers, romantic dates with my wife, or as well playtime with the kids. We play on the balcony, and the balcony is like a forest. I have just been promised an eco-friendly toy collection from Singapore. There is a kindergarten that practices a lot of green practices. They are gonna send me over their eco toys for the children. So as I said earlier, some of the old toys that I've been using, I am using them now with my children. So this idea of we don't need new stuff all the time. We can reuse old things. We can repurpose old things. Or the clothes of my baby daughter. We're just getting them ready for a cousin. Or we have been doing as well some donation activities during the pandemics for some communities here. So we explain to the children, what is this for? Why are we doing this? Let's help, other people. We need to love the planet. We need to love the communities. So we are trying to treat the kids like adults. And that's one thing that I've realized with my baby daughter. She's quite a good communicator already. She comes up with some good stuff because I think she feels comfortable talking about it because we're treating her like an adult. We talk with her about things in a serious way, including environmental issues, human issues. So I think it's a way of how we go about it, and we need to spend time with our kids. I'm a dad. I don't see the task of looking after the kids just for my wife. I take a very active role. I have playtime with the kids. I talk with the kids, and I put in an effort to be a proactive, loving dad that can inspire the kids as well to pick up the same environmental traits, hopefully, but it's their choice.
It's very true, sir, because I know a person working under UNICEF, and I asked him, how can we explain environmental issues and serious issues to a child? And he always mentioned to me that you just have to be honest with them. You have to explain to them that this thing is serious. As long as you have to just to give them that security and comfort that we are all doing the best thing that we could to solve this environmental issue. So that the children, so I'm not really wondering why your little girl is very much of a good communicator, because she understands. And my friend working under UNICEF told me that we shouldn't underestimate the capability of a child to understand things, because they see and they know. We just have to inform them and tell them what is the right thing to do. And this is the main reason why we are all doing this environmental campaigns and advocacies, because we are protecting the future generation. This is for them, so we have to involve them.
You're right, Shane. And one thing that I've realized as well is the kids can pick up so many things as well from what they watch. They watch YouTube. But there are some amazing, Baby Buzz is one of the favorites of my baby daughter. I have her watch some German stuff as well. There are some great kids videos that talk about protecting the planet, about recycling, about protecting the marine animals against the plastic pollution. So I make sure that she watches those more frequently than the others. That's as well a way of giving her the green spirit at an early age.
Yes, I do have a question also. I've recently seen a picture regarding the situation of our marine life, and it really did break my heart. So I really want to get your insights on the effect of disposable masks and PPEs that destroy our marine life, and it is one of the biggest threats during this pandemic when it comes to our environment.
Yes, for that reason, I strongly promote reusable masks. That's what we use here at home. I mean, we go out very, very seldom, but I actually have a mask that is a PM 2.5 mask that is it looks like a biker mask, but it actually is proven to work against those small particles. And those small particles, we have them as well when we have open burning here in the neighborhood. I can see it here on my air quality device. The PM 2.5 problem is when people burn the waste in the neighborhood. So the single-use masks, the single-use packaging that we have now might be required in places where you need utmost hygiene. And when we disinfect areas, for example, we use cloth or something like that, or paper cloth that cannot be reused. But we should use reusable materials as much as possible, because once those single-use items go into the nature, into the atmosphere, the plastic part of it, that takes thousands of years to biodegrade, maybe tens of thousands, before it breaks down in its particles. You know, nature used to be, or nature is so ingenious. Have you ever thought about anything that comes from nature? Anything that falls from a tree goes back into the natural cycle. Only when we humans started to turn oil into plastic and all sorts of other materials, we have created the stuff that cannot go back into the natural cycle. So when we think about the things that we use for our daily lives, the more we can use natural materials like bamboo, wood-based materials that come from sustainably sourced wood, the better it is for our natural environment. So when you are using masks or when you are using other items, always try and use the reusable ones. Otherwise, you are part of the problem that we are creating with the single-use items.
Yes. And the problem with us people is that when we throw it away, we feel like it's gone forever. But no, it is in the surface. It is somewhere out there. It would take forever, as you said, to decompose, such as our plastic waste. So thank you for answering my question.
But Sir Matthias, well, I've been listening to our discussion, and one thing that always struck me is the fact that despite all the different solutions and despite all the different activism, all the different engagements done by different environmental organizations and even like-minded local government units and individuals, why do you think is it that we are having somewhat a hard time trying to convince the rest of the world to realize that we are in a climate crisis, that we are in an emergency, especially when it comes to our environment? Because during the course of my my stint as a competitor in the Miss Philippines Earth, I've been to a lot of different forums, webinars, and that's always a common theme. Like a lot of people are still denying that this is happening, and there are a lot of people who are saying that sometimes they're saying it's a fake news, and sometimes they're saying that this is just a conspiracy. And I just wanted to know, from your point of view, from your years of experience, what seems to be the one thing that is holding us back as one unit of humanity?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Patricia, because that is really the bottleneck. If we would have all of humanity behind the battle against climate change, then we could win it very fast. If every individual would turn their life from a carbon burden to a net carbon absorption, everybody would become a healing impact on the planet, problem solved. But humans are creatures of convenience, and humans usually only take massive action after a massive disaster, after a massive problem. And we live in a time where there's so much fake news, so much cynicism. That's why there are so many conspiracy theories. If you have a contrarian view, you get a lot of followers. It's very difficult to get the message across. That was the reason why I wrote the book, because I thought maybe writing a book can make the message travel faster. Because I wanted to scale up the people that stop and change their lifestyle. But that is very, very difficult. I actually think we need to focus on the future generation. Wanting to change the mindset and the behavior of people that are already very set in their ways is extremely difficult. The amount of energy, events that we need to have to get that scale of changing the mindset of people that are set in their way of thinking will be very, very time consuming, and you will tire out. You will tire out. You know, this is the challenge in the eco advocacy. Sometimes you get frustrated because you wonder, why don't people take action? But then sometimes there are moments, you know, I have asked myself that question many times. Has my advocacy had an impact? But then you have those moments like, you know, last year I was in Edinburgh in Scotland. I was giving a talk there. And then one lady messaged me, bro, I am now here studying in Edinburgh low carbon technology. And you know why I'm here studying low carbon technology? Because of a talk I attended 8 years ago that you gave in my school. That inspired me. So we need to believe that every little step we take, every talk we do, every message we spread out there, even though we cannot see the direct results, someday the result will become visible. The accumulation of us working together. Don't lose hope. Don't lose the original spirit of I can be the change. I can make a difference. A lot of people are listening to your message. And we need to unite together, despite all those climate deniers, conspiracy theorists, and it's very hard when you speak with them. It drains a lot of energy out of you. And I walk away from that quite quickly. Even on Facebook, I don't really entertain that much because you lose too much energy. Focus on the people who want to listen. Focus on the young generation because they are open. And if we go back to the essence of humanity, we have been given a planet, an amazing, beautiful, incredible, resourceful planet to take good care of. That is, you know, if you want to say so, God's mandate for us humans. Whatever we believe, whatever religions we belong to, there is always that connectivity to a creator and that mandate for the humans to take good care of what has been entrusted to us. And let's focus on that bigger mission and work together and focus on a new generation. But there is so much hope. I work with the Philippine Stock Exchange as well. I work with big companies. A lot of the investment funds now are starting to apply environmental and social criteria to choose which companies they give money to.
Yeah.
Whatever conspiracy theorists or climate deniers we have there, more and more political processes and financial processes are putting environment and social into the core of their decision-making process. Listed companies in the Philippines are now expected by the Securities and Exchange Commission to report every year on environment, social and governance, sustainability reports. This is happening. This is going to become bigger and bigger. In the future, companies cannot walk away from addressing their so-called material priority, environmental and social impacts, positive and negative, risks and opportunities. You need to avoid the pollution, but you can innovate with green technology, low carbon products, renewable energy, and you can expand your market. So there is a risk management part, but there's an opportunity part as well. There is joy in hugging tree and doing a forest bathing. Sometimes it's frustrating when you have climate deniers and you are talking to them, but let's focus on the joyful part of we together can create a healing impact on the planet, and it starts with me.
Actually, we also have to stop thinking about the idea. Maybe we are all having a hard time about the transition of becoming eco-friendly because some people maybe thinks that someone will save the planet for them. But the truth is, we are all staying in this one planet, and each of one has the responsibility to do our little part to save it. So we don't have to depend it to someone else.
Exactly, and that's a great answer, Sir Matthias. And I believe that the recent changes that we've been observing with the SEC, with the different government agencies, is connected to what you said, that it's the younger generation who are the key to a more sustainable future, because more and more younger people are taking up, positions, the higher up positions that are having the say or having decision-making positions that are actually changing what is happening in our policies, especially in our government. So I have to really agree with you that it has been the culture of convenience that has been holding us back. And I really hope that as we continue with our work with Youth Philippines, we would be able to reach out to the younger generation and continue the trend, because there is a trend. We are seeing a lot of people saying no to single-use plastic. We're seeing a lot of our commercial places, a lot of our corporations, in fact, agreeing with this banning single-use plastics, because now they are getting pressured in a way to stop using reusable and to stop using single-use. And I have to say that is our mission here right now in the Philippines Earth, and we are very honored that at least we were able to at least hear it right from the mouth of the green man, because we've always known that you are one of those people that when we hear, oh, green man, we know that you have the experience and the knowledge to really share with us. So thank you very much for that wonderful answer, Sir Mafia.
That's my pleasure. And one thought that just came to my mind as well as you were speaking, beside all those young people taking up positions of influence in government, in corporations, the young people, the consumers of the future, have as well the power to change what companies produce by the way what we decide we will buy. And this is a very practical thing as well, coming back to Shane's question earlier and what we talked about. One way you can go green, before you buy something, ask the question, do I really need it? That's about less is more. But then ask the second question, is there a more eco-friendly alternative that I can buy? The more we shift consumption to eco-friendly solutions, the more they become mainstream. In Germany, where I grew up, the organic apple or the organic vegetables cost maybe 10% extra. Here they cost double. Why? Because so few consumers buy it, so few producers will produce it because the demand is limited. So we can change production and consumption of the economy by our consumer behaviors. And a lot of Filipino companies tell me, oh, there's no demand for it. But that demand will increase. And one thing that I have observed as well, we eat a lot of processed food in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Our diet is not very healthy. The life expectancy of the Filipinos is shorter than the rest of ASEAN. Where does it come from? I think based on our diet and the heavy air pollution, those are two contributing factors. So maybe we can shift more to green foods, fresh fruits and vegetables. They're very expensive at the moment. That kind of food is very expensive. Our food bill is quite high, much higher than it would be in Germany, because we buy a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. It shouldn't be like that for an agricultural country like the Philippines. So if we can contribute to that with the money that we spend in consumption, hopefully sustainable consumption, and even what we invest. First time when I had money to invest, I invested in a sustainable forest plantation as an alternative pension system that's biodiverse with animals all the time, as a green investment. Even when those listeners that have some money to put into the stock market, pick those companies that are eco-friendly, that are sustainable. ESG investment has performed better than the normal investment during the crisis as well.
Yeah, and I think that also has something to do with what you mentioned about the consumers grabbing back their power from the manufacturers. Because what is happening right now is that a lot of millennials, I don't know about you guys, but for me, one of the things that has been part of my routine as an Eco Angel is checking if the companies that I've been buying things from are actually eco-friendly. I'm checking if they are actually committing themselves to sustainability. And this is very important because if we really want real change, like for example, if we really want to challenge the sachet economy that we mentioned earlier with Gianna's question about the marginalized sector, if we really want to free our fellow Filipino countrymen from the shackles of the sachet economy, then we must tell our manufacturers that they must provide better alternatives for the marginalized people. So that is such an amazing content from you, sir. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, sir, for sharing your time and giving us ideas and insight about the situation of the environment, mostly amidst this pandemic. And I hope we could meet you personally soon. You are such an inspiration, and I want to grab this opportunity to say thank you for all that you do. The world needs more people like you. And I think my Eco sisters, also Elisa, wants to share about her insights for today.
Actually, I have a question because listening to all the questions being asked, it's mostly focused on like the everyday people about our contribution to the negative effects in terms of the environment. And I just wanted your honest opinion. Like, I know that it's good that we're all trying to contribute in a positive way to help the environment. But do you think that it's the everyday people that are mostly causing that negative effect on the environment, or is it those companies and, for example, those oil companies or those massive corporations that actually contribute the most?
There's always supply and demand. The big companies respond to what the consumers want, or partially, big companies influence the behavior of the consumers. So the truth is somewhere in the middle. We saw that when we suddenly all stay at home, the pollution out there, the air pollution, is gone. And that was a point well made by Roxy at the beginning, that it is us, the humans, that are responsible for a lot of the pollution. Now, the aggregation of that is where the big companies have a big role. If big companies block renewable energy and still build coal-fired power plants, then, you know, the big company is the culprit of not paving the way for a lower carbon power alternative. The good news is in the Philippines, I think now people are realizing that actually renewables is the future. And coal-fired power plants, there are still some being built and some being planned, which hopefully we can prevent, but coal-fired power plants might become stranded assets in the future. Coal is expensive. If you have a coal-fired power plant, the ESG rating agencies give you a very bad rating because you're exposed to climate risk. And we are an archipelago. You know, if you have a coal-fired power plant close to the ocean, you are exposed to the risk of rising sea levels massively, or a typhoon could wipe out your coal-fired power plant. That's why geothermal in particular, solar and wind has become increasingly popular in the Philippines. So yes, in some cases, companies, especially companies in energy intense and carbon intense industries like power producers, oil and gas companies, cement companies. Cement has a gigantic carbon footprint. They have often blocked innovation because they are making a lot of money from business as usual. But recently, I have read news as well about Shell and BP. They're radically shifting as well towards renewable energy, hydrogen, more clean fuels. I think they've realized the future is not with oil. You need to shift. And the more we consumers encourage that shift, the more these companies will respond. So the truth is sometimes not black and white, it's somewhere in the middle. Yes, big companies are part of the problem, but we as individuals and consumers are part of the problem. So we need to work together. And we as consumers, especially in a world of social media, have a lot of power. We can easily give a rating on Facebook or on Google about products, about companies. Oh, this product is not eco-friendly. This product has too much packaging. And companies will start to listen. We have the power of change in our hands.
Thank you for that.
I support you to that, Sir Matthias.
Yes.
We support you.
And that's
Sure.
really important. Right now, like for example, it's connected also to the climate justice movement. The Philippines recently accepted through the Commission on Human Rights a petition wherein petitioners are alleging that a lot of the carbon emitters, companies who are identified to have been contributing a lot to the carbon levels of the country should be made accountable for the different natural disasters caused because of the climate change. And this is very important. This would be historical, not just in the Philippines, but in the world, because this would mean that there would be enough, sorry, I'm getting a little technical, but there would be jurisprudence which can be used in the fight to let these carbon majors, these really big companies realize their big role in how everything is going wrong right now in our world because of the effects of climate change. So even though we have equal responsibilities, of course, as human beings, they have an elevated responsibility considering that they're the ones who are in a greater social position, especially economically. So that's also a very nice point to ponder. So that's really great to hear from you, Sir Matthias.
And
Yes,
this
Sir
will- Yeah. Just one quick one. This will have a huge impact once people are more accountable. We have in Germany the so-called polluter pays principle. If you pollute a lot as a company, you have to pay more for it. So that internalizes the cost of pollution into the accounting system, and accountants will make different decisions. When I was a kid in Germany, we had acid rain. The pollution from coal-fired power plants and chemical industry, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxides, were coming back down as acid. Sulfuric acid and nitrous acid. They were changing the pH in the forest floor, and they were destroying the pine trees. And then we fought against that. That was my first campaign. Then the Green Party didn't win the elections, but went into the German parliament. The Green Party was becoming so powerful, all German political parties turned green. A new law was issued to clean up the air emissions from those factories. Those factories had to comply. In Germany, it's not easy to get around it by, various means that we might sometimes see in the Philippines. If there is a law, it gets enforced, and suddenly within 5 years, the problem was solved and the trees were saved. So the power of the people in terms of our voting behavior, how we choose the parties that are doing the right legislation that protects the environment, that can be extremely powerful. So Patricia, that's great news. And yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Sir Matthias, thank you so much. Personally, I did learn a lot today, and I think we already took so much of your time. So
Yes.
thank you for spending this day with us. And for our closing remarks, I think Elisa has some words for us.
Yes, so please make sure to watch out for all the upcoming events that Miss Philippines Earth has. And so please like our social media pages. So, Ate Shay?
Yes, guys, in support with Roxy as our representative for the upcoming Miss Earth 2020, please be updated by liking our Facebook page that's Miss Earth, and of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel also under the name of Miss Earth. Of course, to our Instagram and Twitter account that's at Miss Earth.
And also, there's going to be a one-day getting to know you event of Miss Earth 2020 delegates. That's so exciting. That's happening on the 21st of September. Watch out for that.
And of course, starting September 22, there will be daily pre-pageant events, and they will be showcasing different talents and elegant costumes and attires of our international delegates. So you cannot miss that, so stay tuned.
Yes, and to know more about the time and delegates assigned, please visit the official Miss Earth Facebook page. Thank you, and see you on our next episode, which will be on August 21, 5 to 6 p.m. to talk more about what matters. So everybody out there, continue to take proper precautions, be kind to yourself and others, and always remember, a green life is a better life. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. Queen
Thank you,
sisters.
sir. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, sisters.